Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I'm currently training for the Manchester Marathon 2025, which will be my first marathon. However, I am no stranger to training for a race, and this will be my fourth race that I'm training for over the span of about 3 years. So I thought, what better thing to do than to share with you the things that have helped me hold myself accountable and kind of stay on track whilst training for a race. Let's get into it. The number one thing that I cannot stress enough is the importance of a training plan. Since having a training plan in place, my running has just completely transformed. I've seen the most progression in my runs. The training plan has given me consistency, structure. It's something that holds me accountable. And this is coming from somebody who trained for a half marathon without a plan in place, because I thought, well, I've done one before, like I can do it again. And I had absolutely no guidance, no structure, no plan. So some weeks I would run twice a week, other weeks I would run 4 times a week. And there was just no consistency, there was no purpose to my runs whatsoever. I didn't know what I was doing, I got bored of it. By the end, I was just like ready to get the race out of the way with. I was just sick of it. And it kind of made me fall out of love with running, because it felt just very monotonous and repetitive, and I just felt like I was going out for a run and I didn't really know like what the kind of purpose of that run was. The other thing with it as well is, even if you say to yourself, this week I'm going to run, so say today I'm going to do 6 miles. And this is like, if you don't have a training plan in place, I'm going to run 6 miles today. And then today rolls around and you're just like, I'm not in the mood, it's cold, it might be raining, like, it's just, no, I'm not in the mood for it today. So I'm going to do 3 miles. And imagine doing that over and over and over again, where you kind of cut your runs short, or you don't have a targeted pace in mind. It just doesn't, I don't know, I don't think it motivates you. I don't think it holds you accountable. And I just feel like it makes it so much less enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, for some people that might work fine. But for me, it didn't work fine. I got to the race, the one that I had like absolutely no guidance or plan for. That race was the worst race I've ever done in terms of how I was feeling. I just felt awful. And when I kind of like think back on that run, I can't even think about it, because it was just horrendous. I just hated every single second of it. I was walking, like I was just so done with kind of running. It just wasn't very fun. Have a training plan in place. Either find a coach that can help you. I've been really, really fortunate that my friend's dad is a very experienced runner, and he's created a plan for me. We keep actually, like I've said, like, because people kind of, ask me a lot, how do you know what to run? And it's because of that training plan that I know what to do, otherwise I'd be clueless. The other option is there are so many apps that offer training plans. So there are plenty of options out there, and I'll list some of them in the bio for you as well to have a look at. Training plan. Do not skip on the training plan. I promise you, it's like the base of your running when it comes to training for a race, in my opinion. Number 2, on that note of the training plan your runs into your week, and try to do it in advance instead of planning your runs around your week, if that makes sense. No, how do I say this? Like, for example, give yourself enough time, like get those runs in the diary, so that when things come up, you can say, I can't do that date, but I can do this date, because on the first day I've got to do this run. Do you know what I mean? Like, and the same with your long runs. Get those long runs in, because you cannot afford to be like skipping out on those runs. those runs are the most important ones. So get those booked in the diary and hold yourself accountable when it comes to doing them. So for me, my training plan is 3 runs a week, which works perfect for me. That's like guidance I've been given, and it's what works well. But with that, I also have the ability to say, today I had a run planned. I don't, but say I did. And I'm not feeling it, so I've got a gap between, today and my long run on Sunday. So I could either do it today, Thursday, or Friday, because that still gives me a day in between. However, that mentality of being like, no, I don't fancy it today, I'll do it tomorrow, it just doesn't help. It just doesn't. If you're breaking promises to yourself in a way, and also it just makes you feel rubbish. Like when you say you'll do something and then you don't do it. Don't get me wrong, if things come up, life comes up, there are a multitude of reasons as to why you can't do a run on the day that you might have said you would do it. But generally speaking, if it's a case of like, I'm not in the mood today, I'm not doing it, do not break that promise with yourself. Just do the run and you will feel better for it. Even the runs that you really cannot be bothered to do and you're doing it and you're hating it and you're like, why have I chosen this as a fun thing to do? Why have I chosen to do this race? And you're going through that whole kind of cycle. Even those runs, once you get back from it, you end up feeling so good that you kind of forget how you were feeling during that run anyway. So don't skip on yourself. Try and imagine if that was a friend that you'd made a plan with and you would feel bad kind of breaking a promise or cancelling on them last minute. So just, these are all mind tricks really, more than anything, because I think it's our mind that lets us down sometimes when it comes to staying accountable, staying on track for something. So that is tip number 2, is to plan your runs in your week. Just get them in the calendar, just have them there. Just take a bit of time to go through, even say the next month, and just have them in your diary. Number 3, get a good nutrition and hydration plan in place for your long runs. Another thing I skipped out on because I didn't really understand the importance of it. I didn't really understand the just what I was putting my body through versus how I was replenishing my body. So your long runs are your chance to figure out what works for you. So it's all a bit of trial and error. So there might be certain gels that don't agree with you, or certain gels that really work for you. There might be certain snacks that don't work for you, and certain snacks that really do work for you. But my friend recommended, so bearing in mind this is long runs for a marathon training plan, but she recommended this and then I've been trying it. I've been taking a gel every 4 miles and then having a sip of water every mile, and it weirdly works because it's like a reward. It is like a reward. It kind of gets you through to the next point. So I did a 15-mile run on the weekend. So I had my first gel at 4 miles, and then getting to that next section of the run, the 8 miles, obviously that is halfway, but anyway, getting to the next section of the run, it was almost like a quarter of the run, next quarter of the run, and then knowing, okay, I've got a gel to have at this point. So it's just these little kind of check-ins that you have with yourself, and mentally it really works, but obviously physically it works. On that note though, your body is going to have different needs to mine and to other people. So if you're on a run, say, and you feel like you need a gel before 4 miles, then obviously have a gel, or you feel like you need a snack. Like, don't take what I'm saying word for word, that this is just what I've been trying and it seems to be working for now. So the first half marathon I did, I never took any gels with me. I just I would have like a little bottle of water with me, and then because I wasn't hydrating before the run, I was like quite dehydrated on the runs, and then I was having to stop. And to be honest, I don't really know how I got through that first half marathon race, because I just completely like winged it. I didn't really know what I was doing. But yeah, I think I might have had, did I have a gel during the race or something? I don't know. But gels were not in the plan at that point, definitely not. And kind of the same with the second half marathon. It's only in like the last year that I've started to take that a bit seriously. And obviously understand that my body needs it. So get a good hydration and nutrition plan in place. Your body will thank you for it later. Like, I've noticed the difference in my recovery, how I'm feeling after a run. I don't kind of feel so haggard. So protect yourself and get those things in place, because on race day, like, it's not something you want to be figuring out. On race day, your training plan is also your time to figure out what works for you nutritionally and what works for you in terms of your hydrating and things like that. And on that note of food, number 4, figure out what your running safe foods are. So when I say safe food, I mean foods that aren't going to cause you to need an emergency toilet break during your long run, if you know what I mean. This has happened to me many a time and it's not pleasant. It's horrible. I didn't quite realise, again, I didn't realise that the foods I was eating in the days leading up to a long run, particularly the day before, would impact my long run in terms of, needing the toilet. And just when you're caught unaware like that, it's horrible. Like, the amount of times I've had to get my partner to come and pick me up because I'm just caught unaware and I'm like, I can't, I'm just stuck. So don't get caught out by your foods the day before. Figure out what doesn't irritate your belly. But again, this is different for everybody, but for me, what works at the minute seems to be chocolate milk, Scotch pancakes. Like, really, this is really random, but it works. I have, for my meal the night before, I have a like cheesy pasta and broccoli meal. I found, like, the simpler I keep it, the better. However, I know that some people are absolutely fine when it comes to, like, what they eat the day before and going on their run. And if you're one of those people, I honestly despise you, because I'm so jealous. I wish I could just, like, eat your McDonald's and be able to go for a run worry-free the next day, but it's just, my body is just not capable of that. So just be mindful of what is going to give you a bit of an icky belly and what's not. Obviously, you want to be getting your carbs in as well. Bagels is another one. Bagels always work fine for me. And then you also want to be figuring out your kind of breakfast the day before. And like, I feel like I'm making this sound like a chore, but it's when you're able to control your belly in that sense, like when you're able to just go out for a long run and not worry about needing the toilet, it's bliss. It's really nice when you get through a whole run without having that worry or that feeling. It's amazing. So just make sure that you figure out what your safe foods are. And let me repeat, like when I say safe foods, I genuinely mean that I'm going to give you an upset belly whilst you're running, because nobody wants that. Number 5, really simple but really effective. Lay out your clothes the night or the day before, even if you're not planning on doing that run until the afternoon or the evening. Just have those clothes out ready, because again, when it comes to, you know, on the day you feeling like I'm not in the mood for it, the clothes are already out. Like, it's just, you have to walk past those clothes, you've taken them out of the drawer, like they're ready to go, and you're gonna bail on yourself. It's like another reminder of like, no, excuse me, we made a promise to ourselves. This is what we're doing today. So lay out your clothes the night before, and it's just another way of holding yourself accountable. It might sound really silly, but honestly, the times, and I'm the same when it comes to the gym. So I go to the gym twice a week to strength train, to prevent injury and to just protect my muscles, because they're being put through a lot. But the difference in me putting my clothes out the night before and actually getting up and going to the gym versus me not putting my clothes out the night before and not going to the gym, genuinely, it makes such a difference. And I think it's also like, it's getting an outfit ready for something. I don't know what the science is, but it just works, and just give it a try. All you can do is try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least give it a try. Number 6, document the journey. So what I mean by that is, you don't necessarily need to get on social media and, you know, start up a running account unless you want to. It is really fun and I do recommend it, but obviously not for everyone. Get it, that's fine. What I mean is, make it interesting for yourself, make it kind of exciting. At the end of the day, no matter what distance of a race you're training for, it's such a big achievement. It's a lot of work that you're putting into something when you're saying, you know, when you sign up for a race and then you say to yourself, right, the next 12, 20 weeks, however long, I'm dedicating myself to training for this race. Like, that's a really big thing to do, and it's not easy to do. It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of dedication. It's getting up and going when you don't want to go. And so be proud of those stepping stones, and it's just nice to have a bit of a log of how far you've come and your progress. And it's not always about the speed, it's not always about the miles. Like, we all have different goals at the end of the day, but whatever it is that helps you kind of look at a run and think, wow, I've progressed a lot since, I don't know, last June. Like, it's just really nice to have. So how can we document? How we can document is through videoing. Those videos don't need to be shown anywhere, but they can be. Even on YouTube, you can create a channel and just keep it private if you want to. I am fully embracing the bragging rights of training for a marathon, so I'm just putting it out there for the world to see at the minute. But I'm enjoying it, and it's nice to, I've like kind of connected with a few different runners and stuff through social media, so it is really nice. But there is the option of keeping it private and having just, you know, family and friends be able to see it. Journaling, keeping a kind of diary or a journal of your runs. It doesn't have to be, it could be more like the mental side of things, and just, I don't know, just get it all out on paper. Like, have something that you can look back on, or even if it's just an outlet, it might not even be something that you want to look back on. It might just be, this is stressing me out, I'm going to get it out on paper. Or I had this really tough run, I need to write about it. Or I had this amazing run, I had like the most amazing runner's high and I want to remember it forever. Get it out on paper, or get it in a video. There are so many ways that we can document the things going on in our lives, and I think it's important to remember why you're documenting it, which is for yourself. So it doesn't need to be polished, it doesn't need to be filtered. The kind of more messy and unaesthetic and normal it is, the better. And I just, like, the reason I started this channel and I started doing my weekly vlogs was because I I don't want to sit here and say, like, I'll never run a marathon again, but it just feels like a big life event. It's something I've never done before. I don't know if I'll get the chance to do it again. I don't know if I want to do it again. And I just wanted to document it for myself. It's just nice to look back on. It's nice to share it with people. I don't know, it's just nice to have. So yeah, you have the option of sharing it or keeping it private. There's also platforms like Strava where you could use that to keep a log of your run. So obviously you can have just get on Strava because the kudos is amazing. But you can just put on, each run, like how you felt, how it went, what was good about it, what wasn't. Like, it's entirely up to you at the end of the day, but I do recommend documenting it because it is very fun. And so when I'm actually on my run, I will like do a check-in every mile. So I'll do, the way I kind of do my like little videos that I do is I do kind of, I'll get to 1 mile, so I do 1 mile down, 5 to go if it's a 6 mile run kind of thing. But it weirdly helps because I know that at every mile, okay, I'm taking out my camera to record it. And so sometimes it's like I have my camera out, I've recorded, okay, 1 mile down, however many to go. And then before I know it, the next mile is round. And I'm like, oh, I literally felt like I just put my camera away kind of thing. And it just makes the run go so much quicker like that. It's really weird. But it's also so much fun when you sit down and put it all together and you make so my 15-mile run that I did on the weekend, make a 15-mile run look like it took you, I think, did I get it down to like 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes? So it's quite, what's the word, like, no, it's not aesthetically pleasing. I don't know, it's just fun to watch. So yeah, if you are going to do, like, say a video or even just messaging a friend or a family member and just checking in, just done 1 mile, this is how I'm feeling, or it could be like, a kilometre, half a mile, however kind of works for you. Again, these are mostly like mind tricks is how I would like to describe it. It's just tricking your mind into believing that something is going quicker than it is, or something isn't as tough as it is. It's a bit like if you imagine yourself on a really, really long straight path and you need to get to the end of that road. The more that you keep focusing on the end of that road, the longer it feels, because it just feels like an endless kind of, it just feels ages away. You can see it, but you're not there. So it's a bit like taking in, like other elements around you, or focusing on other parts as opposed to the end of the road. So when you're checking in every mile or every kilometre, whatever works for you, it's focusing on the now, like the present. Is literally focusing on that exact place of where you are. I hope that's not like a state the obvious thing, and that's actually, I hope that's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that makes sense, rather than like, yeah. So yeah, enough about documenting the journey, but I do recommend documenting it somehow, however that looks for you. It's just nice to have, it's fun, and what you're doing is a really, really big achievement. It's not easy to train for something, so don't forget that. Number 7, enjoy the journey. So I find that with training, because you're so focused on getting through each week, the weeks just start to fly by. Like, usually for me, January drags. January this year has just flown by because it's like each week I'm looking at the runs that I've got to do and how many miles I've got to do on those runs. And then the week is being broken down into, okay, run 1 today, run 2 on Wednesday, long run on Saturday kind of thing. And then before I know it, it's like another week of training has passed and I'm on to the next week, and it's just, because of that, it just feels like it's going really fast, which is scary because the more I get into the training, the more the miles creep up. It gets harder in some ways, but also your body like weirdly adapts. Like your body is actually so much more capable than your mind lets you believe, and that is the beauty of running. It's showing your brain, like, we can do this. Like, look, let me show you how we can do this, and then you do it. It takes a lot of discipline to train for something. Try to enjoy where you are with it, and in a way try not to take it too seriously. Like, try to enjoy it. You're gonna have runs where they feel rubbish. You're gonna have points where you're ill and there's, you know, it's kind of out of your control and you need to take a break from it, and it's not fun, it's not good. But the time of that kind of passes, and then you're back onto your running and you've picked it back up. And so it's a bit like that the saying that goes, this too shall pass. So the good runs, the bad runs, the kind of good weeks, the bad weeks, like, this too shall pass. So the best thing you can do is just try to enjoy the journey and just be proud of the fact that you have said, I'm doing this race, so in the build up to that, I'm going to do all of these runs across all of these weeks to get myself to that point. Like, that is massive. It's amazing. Don't forget to just take a moment to be like, okay, this is really cool that I'm doing this. And kind of on that note, whatever you do, do not compare yourself to other people, because this is your journey and not anyone else's. You can't compare your runs to anybody else's because they're not you and you're not them. Those are my 7 ways to hold yourself accountable whilst training for a running race. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you have any that you would like to share, please let me know in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video.